Hello and welcome to Happy Maybe. Nikita, how are you?
I'm pretty happy. Not as happy as yesterday, but slightly less happy, but still happy. I had an interesting conversation yesterday.
This is Vasily, by the way.
Oh, Vasily? Hi, Vasily. This is Nikita. I had an interesting conversation the other day, literally yesterday, with a friend she felt very existential, and she's like middle-aged woman, not from the U.S. So she's an immigrant. She has kids. She has family. She was married multiple times. She had businesses, and she was like complaining to me about how it almost seems like she's done everything that you're supposed to do, and there isn't anything else that's left to do. Like, she's been successful, she's had families, she had kids, she's pretty much tried everything, including not doing anything. She's tried like just chilling for a while, because that's supposedly what you should do when you reach success, quote unquote success. She had houses, she sold houses, and she's like, I don't know what to do. And the biggest problem is most people don't seem to understand, like, even her immediate family and some of her friends would look at her and say, wait, but you have everything you're supposed to have. Like, why are you not happy? Why are you not fulfilled? Because it seems like I wish I had what you're having. And sometimes I feel that similar thing from other people. Someone looks at me like, wow, you're this young, good looking, supposedly, man, and you're whatever, financially independent. You have a job, you have a job security and somewhat of a financial security, and blah, blah, blah. What are you
It's like
complaining
you
about?
have no right to complain, and your concerns are frivolous and superficial. This is kind of the message that the world gives that woman that you talked about, you, myself, and makes you wonder, like, am I just being a whiny person who is like very annoying to the world, achieving these things that people want and then not being grateful to it? Having the audacity to complain about unhappiness. Like, who are you?
When you have more than the rest of the world. I was reading this book about moral psychology, and the author pointed out that most of the studies, specifically in moral psychology, but others too, were done in what he called weird societies. And he called them weird because he called them white, educated, WEI, something democratic societies.
Industrial.
Yep.
Something like that.
It doesn't matter what it was specifically, but he called them weird because he called them, he said that these are the most unusual societies that you can find on the planet. The majority of people don't live like us. The majority of people don't have that experience.
Let me tell you, Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic.
That.
And it was Joseph Henrik, and he invented this term to avoid any racial or gender bias. So basically, he singled out societies such as the United States or Canada, basically Western societies, right, is to kind of unify all the people who live in that society by these characteristics.
Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think we would be very
The weirdest people.
good representatives of this type of society, and the problems we're having are such.
I agree.
Another example of this is my ex-wife, who would look at me and say, well, I think you're unhappy because you don't have anything to worry about. It's like, you've solved all the regular problems. Why? And you're unhappy because you don't have anything else to do.
Okay, so I'll run this thought by you. I feel like this is just my hypothesis. There is a certain amount of space allocated to problem solving and adversity in the mind. So when all of your needs are met in basic existence and beyond, when you have plenty to eat, comfortable space, you have all the things you want, your brain is tickled in all kinds of ways, then you don't have the so-called real survival problems. But the need to solve them doesn't go away. It's somehow it's biological. It's baked into the DNA. So you start inventing them, and then happiness is kind of like the engine, is a means to remind you that you still need to find problems to solve. Like, there's something there, that you're not seeing it. Like, yeah, there's no wild animal hunting you. You have plenty to eat. You have your physical needs met, everything. But what are you solving then? Like, what are the dangers? What are the problems of existence that you need to work on? So you start inventing some. Sometimes they're very superficial at least to other people. Maybe they're very meaningful to you as somebody who's looking for them. But what do you think about this?
Nearly every conversation about happiness seems to fall into the stoicism very quickly. So what you're describing to me is very close to the idea of choosing your challenges in life. So, instead of doing it easy way, find the thing that is challenging, always choose the challenging thing. And that's how you will be happy, because you will always do the difficult thing. I have a blog post. Where I discovered that there are two main ways of looking at life. And there is one I call it toxic positivity. It's when people are constantly reminding themselves to be happy. Like, don't use specific words because they have negative connotation. Tell yourself you're successful. This whole thing. And there's an entire separate part of the world that I call suffer more is the tag name that I gave him. And the idea is you need to suffer because this is how you live. You need to find the things that are challenging. You need to always push through them. This is the way. And I wonder if this dichotomy is necessary. So answering to what you said, why can't we just enjoy?
It takes effort, apparently, for some people, or maybe for most people, to just kick back and enjoy. I agree with this approach because it sounds inherently good, positive, just enjoy, kick back. But for example, I have a friend who doesn't like to work more than necessary, and somehow he got to a comfortable place in life. He's got enough money. Some of his relatives passed away, and so he had a couple apartments he could sell. So he has a war chest to enjoy life, with his wife on the beach, which is what he's doing. Right? So, and he also made some money in life, using different ways. He could be making more money. He could bust his ass, but he consciously chooses not to rush with that. If an opportunity comes along, I'll work, I'll freelance or something, But other than that, why? There's coconut water, there's the beach, there's my lovely wife. What else? Why would I, But I find myself kind of judging him low key, being like, come on, you can do so much more, because you have this talent, you have this professional skill that you can apply and all this kind of stuff. But I catch myself and I slow myself down. I fade out my thought to him and be like, you know what? I'm actually happy for you, and I'm glad you are like that, because you're like a counterbalance to me. When we communicate with him, it's like oh wow, I see the other way, when somebody is genuinely honestly enjoying the simplicity of life that they achieved and busted their ass at some point, but then decided not to, and don't care if society claims or labels them as lazy, unproductive. They don't give a shit, So this is another example.
Mm-hmm. I have a friend. He's older than me, and I remember when I was talking to him about being frustrated with not enjoying any of the existing hobbies that I have, and maybe picking up different hobbies, and what is the meaning of life anyway? And he was older, and he's from slightly different generation, and he looked at me and he said, "Well, I think that's your responsibility is to take your greatest gift, whatever. Say I'm a software engineer, so maybe I should take that and perfect it for as best I can, even if that means to be financially successful or career successful, is the thing I should do to sharpen my tools until they're sharp, very sharp, I guess. I'm not sure. I don't see where it's going, sure, I can be much better at what I do, even more better than what I do. There will still be some people who are better than me than what I do, and I'll never be better than those. So why try?
Yeah, and if comparing yourself with others is not the goal, is not the direction, rationally speaking, then maybe you are as good as you can be now. Why become better? Because are you chasing some level of proficiency in your craft that is better than the people in your circle or people on the internet? What's the benchmark for? Or is it just the process of improving? Then what is the velocity of improving? Can I just improve 1% a year? Is it enough to be a master of my craft? I don't know.
I actually have this almost like edgy thing to say in public. At least it feels edgy to me. But when I have compensation review at work, at my previous job as well, it feels odd to me to say that, if I don't see a significant bump in my compensation, I'm actually okay. That feels so edgy to even say that, you know what, I'm okay. Like, I'm fine. And I know that I could be making 3 times as much money if I were to actually put effort into like finding a job at Google at like a higher level and then play the game to be promoted, blah, blah, blah. But I don't wanna. And this idea of not wanting this, I'm like afraid. I'm like, right now as I say it, I'm afraid to say it out loud because I can almost see like, I don't know, my job coming back at me and saying, you don't wanna, as you say, Vasily, bust your ass. You don't wanna do more. Like, what's wrong with you? But as far as my take on this is, I do everything I do, including my job, I do to the best of my abilities. I already do to the best of my abilities. I don't think I could be doing more, but also I don't want to be doing less. So the career development the career development seems like an alien concept that isn't at all part of my experience. And yet I do know people who seriously discuss, for example, having multiple jobs. I don't know if you heard this idea of having multiple jobs using ChatGPT, for example.
Oh.
Um,
Oh yes. I actually, yeah, I even listened to a couple of podcasts with in-depth interviews with two of the major figureheads of the movements. One movement is called overemployment. The other one is called job stacking. But anyway, that's a topic for a whole different conversation. But yes.
Yeah, I guess what I was saying is it okay to say that I don't want more? That feels edgy to me to say publicly. I'm afraid of being judged for not wanting more.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you. Yeah.
I can always see some of my friends.
You surprised me. I did not know where this thought was going to go.
Okay. What do you think of it? How do you, instead of what do you think of it, how do you see it for yourself? You're further along in your career track and you could be making more money, but you make other choices sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like flexibility and personal freedom rank much higher for me. I see how people stress when they do career development, and it also, part of me is just not active enough in that realm. Yeah, I'll be honest. Yeah, I'm not too interested in career development. I carved out my place to be where I am, without being a manager of many people. That never appealed to me. Managing a couple people was already a huge stress for me. Just not something I prefer. So yeah, I'm okay with this, and I'm glad to find a kindred spirit in you, in that we're both not like too crazy about the idea of somehow in a cunning way like crafting our path to raises, to having multiple jobs, like being obsessed about this. I'm cool with what I'm doing now, and for some time, I will be cool with it too. And I do respect people who advance. Like, I recently, like, a friend of mine actually got a job that pays him 30% or something less than the previous job.
What was his rationale? How was it better or different? Why?
So he had to, the market is not as hot as it used to be, the job market, and he was laid off and didn't get many offers. And this company sweetened the deal with the upside. There was potential to make some money on stock options. So he just wanted to make the choice and not agonize about it. But I could tell it was tough for him, to go back in the salary realm. But I'm proud of him that he did, because he's the one who always tells me that maybe I should look into being a manager or a VP or something like that. And I always have to remind him that maybe that's not something that everyone should want. But yes, this is not the topic that I thought we were going to talk about, but I'm glad we did. More to come. So thank you, Nikita.
Thank you, Vasily. I love this short format. It's nice and concise. See you soon.
Okay, till the next short episode.